Hey guys, you're back with Steph and Dennis, and today we're talking about where we want to be financially by about 30 years old. Den and I are consistently talking about our different money goals and plans in our day-to-day life, mostly because I always bring it up and consistently am asking him questions, but we thought it would be fun to kind of bring that to the channel and talk about our actual true financial plan for us, not just how to come up with one, but where we want to be in a few years from now by the time we're 30. But make sure you stick with us throughout the entire video because we are going to give you some of the hard facts and figures today, actual numbers of where we want to be financially a few years from now, not just all the fluffy stuff. But before we get started, make sure you show us some love down below, give us a like, and let's dive into it. So for anyone who doesn't know us that well yet, I'm 24 and Den is 25, so about halfway through our 20s. I have that one extra year on him before we get to 30, and the way time has been flying lately, we definitely feel like 30 is gonna creep up on us in no time. As a recap on us money-wise, Den's almost done paying his student loans. We graduated about 2 years ago, so that's been his main financial focus since then, and those are almost done. And on my part, I've been really focused on saving or investing at least 50% of my income, specifically my take-home pay, and that's been going pretty well. We share a lot about that in my previous budget videos, and I've also shared before that my goal is as my income continues to grow, that percentage that I'm saving continues to grow. So basically no lifestyle creep, I'll be saving everything else I make ideally. So now leaving that current state and jumping into our where we want to be future state about 5 or 6 years down the road, I'm actually thinking that we'll start backwards. So I'm going to list out some of our overall top goals that we both have. We're pretty much on the same page when it comes to our bigger goals, our broader ones. So we'll throw those at you first, which are going to sound lofty, but afterwards we're going to really break them down and show you our numbers and our goals for how we're going to make those happen. Also, I did want to note for everyone that we're not super rigid in our plans. So just because we're really detailing out what we want to do in 5 to 6 years right now, what our current thoughts are and how we think we're going to get there, we know that as better ideas come up, different opportunities, different plans continue to evolve, we'll definitely be able to pivot, right? That's the best way to actually be successful, is know how to pivot and change up your strategy. But we do think it's helpful to have that future benchmark to work backwards right now so that we can really be focused on our finances and how we want to get there. And of course, as you all know, if you have been watching us share some of our financial journeys so far on this channel, we'll continue to do that as we grow. So if our plans change, if our overall investing and saving strategies change, anything like that, it'll all be documented on this channel and you'll be in the loop. Okay, so overall, here are our top 4 high-level financial goals that we're going to break down more in a second. The first one is to own multiple pieces of real estate. We also want to definitely continue to have and grow our multiple income streams that are diversified. And the last 2 are that we want to be millionaires, so both of us individually, and also in general be getting really close to hitting that financial freedom benchmark. So I'm going to kick it over to Dan so we can start to dive into what those really mean for us.
Okay, so right off the bat, the first thing that I want to say is that careers do and should matter. And the reason that we place so much emphasis on careers in general on this channel is because there's nothing wrong, and I mean there's nothing wrong with putting in effort and actually working hard at your day job, even if your goal is to one day, take the full leap into whatever your side hustle is. If we're talking career-wise, and if I'm being completely honest, one of my biggest fears is putting in all of this time and all of this effort into something, so being your career in general, your day job, and then realizing it's not what you thought it was going to be, or even worse, burning out. And once again, these are all realities that we've all come across, whether it be in our workplaces, whether it be in our schools. Like, I'm sure you know someone who's burnt out at some point, or who seems like they're heading towards burning out, right? Something that I do understand is that Steph and I are on this journey, but at the same time, I feel like we would be cheating ourselves if we weren't working hard, at our day jobs to make things happen, to hopefully maximize our ability to save more and invest more. Like, imagine if we were talking about careers on Mondays, or, in general, just talking about how our careers are going, but we're not actually putting in the effort to also increase the financial side of our day jobs. To me, I think it would be ridiculous, and it also wouldn't be reflective of who we are in general, right? Steph could probably reiterate how many times I've said this, but although we're working hard at our daytime jobs, we also understand that we have a really great opportunity to pour our time into something that can grow exponentially. Once again, it's much easier for you to pour your time and your effort into something that you know is gonna grow exponentially, as opposed to something that's, rigid and has hierarchies that you probably don't even understand, right? Like, we've talked about our jobs in the past. So with all of that being said, and for anyone who's tuned into my debt-free journey videos, if you haven't checked those out, make sure you check them out up top after this video. But as I'm sure a lot of you know, I'm almost done paying off my debt, which I'm super happy about, right? But what this means is it marks a milestone that indicates that I can now start investing my money and saving my money as well. So over the next year, I forecasted about $20,000. I think that's what I'll be able to save in 2021. And that could fluctuate. It could go up depending on how my career and my job goes essentially, but that $20,000 is specifically coming from my day job. This does not include any other income sources, whether that be YouTube or whether it be anything else that we get involved in. And really, once Steph and I have a base, the goal is to ultimately get involved in real estate and find our pocket or our niche that we feel comfortable moving forward with. You know, over the years, I've listened to countless episodes of Bigger Pockets. I've connected with real estate agents here in Toronto. I've connected with developers. So I've really tried to engulf myself in this space outside of actually, you know, having the ability to invest money. And if there's anything that I've learned at all, is that it's important to figure out where you feel comfortable and where your risk tolerance also lays, right? And this once again ties to our goals on, you know, becoming millionaires by 30 and also having multiple income streams. I don't know if I've said this before, but I understand that money doesn't necessarily bring you happiness, but I do know that it affords you time. And if there's anything we know, time is super important and is probably one of the most valuable assets that anyone has at their disposal. There's a quote or a saying that's been floating around recently and it's really resonated with me, and it basically says that we overestimate what we can do in 1 year and we underestimate what we can do in 10 years. Overall, our timeline isn't rigid and we're sort of just going with the flow. We're seeing where things go. We'll see where Steph takes it with the numbers in a moment here. I think hers are a bit more detailed than mine, but if we're talking broad calculations and if we're including, you know, general pay increases, you know, job title changes, I believe that within 5 years, so by the time that I'm 30, I should have somewhere between 200 and 300,000 of money that I've been able to save on top of, you know, all the different pay increases, like I said before, within that period of time, so within that spread. Again, this was super quick and dirty, but I'm excited to see what Steph has for you guys as well.
Like we mentioned before, our goal is to really have multiple income streams that are diversified so that we're able to increase the overall income that we have flowing into our pockets so that we can then invest that income and have more passive income coming in from those investments. And the reason we want to do this is because it allows us to work towards financial freedom from that passive income coming in so that we don't have to and we're not confined to working a 9-to-5 job. Mostly for the reason that it allows us to have that security and peace of mind that if we were fired tomorrow, if another pandemic happened, anything in the world happens, there's no stress there and we do have other passive income other than our core salary. And a lot of people will talk about financial freedom or the FIRE, financial independence, retire early, obviously about retiring early, right? And actually quitting that 9-to-5 job and leaving it and just working for yourself, or not even working for yourself, just having that passive income come in. For me, it's not even about retiring early. I really do like my job. We have tons of videos about that on our channel. I like my field of work and I see myself doing that for a long time. But what's nice about not having to rely on that money, even if I'm doing that job, is that it's just that peace of mind, I think, truly for me, that I don't have to have my main source of income coming for that, right? I can do that job, but it lifts the financial pressure that's tied to my career. Another money goal that's really personal to me is that I really want to be more investment savvy by the time I'm 30. And again, I don't think you actually have to stick to numbers in terms of age limits for things like that. It's just tying that in here because the video is about by the time we're 30. But overall, my point is in the next few years, I really want to focus on that. Now, as you all know, because you're on our channel right now watching this videos, we obviously do a lot of videos, one every week, about personal finance. And we take you through some how-tos and different tips, but also where we're at in our personal journey. So for me, it revolves a lot around really basic investing, but mostly saving because that's the main phase that I'm at right now. But whenever we do talk about topics relating to investing, Den really is our source of information there. He knows a lot more about all of that, the entire investing world than I do, and he really is who I go to as well for that type of information. So my goal over the next few years is to really work on being able to talk about different types of investments with ease myself and have diversified investments in things like index funds, individual stocks, and real estate that I'm able to control myself because I have that knowledge. So now let's get into the fun stuff, which is actually breaking down some of the numbers and my savings goals over the next 6 years until I'm 30. And if you haven't checked out some of my previous budgeting videos, we'll link those for you to check out after this one. I just did one where I spoke a little bit more about how much I'm going to be saving in the year 2020 alone. So my goal is to have saved or aka not spent, at least $200,000 of my take-home salary over the next 6 years. Now, this is a pretty rough estimate because it's taking into account how much I'm able to save on a yearly basis now, plus hopefully some salary increases that I'll get over time. That's the goal. Who knows when those will come, right, and how much they'll be for. But just taking a rough, hopefully somewhat conservative guess, if I stick to my current savings goals and don't allow any lifestyle creep, how much I will have saved or not spent from my take-home salary by the time I'm 30. Also, we'll throw the math up on the screen, but my goal would be to also invest a lot of that money, right? So just as an example, we'll do one of those scenarios where if I did save $200,000 and over time I invested that for those 6 years at a 6% interest rate, I would actually generate approximately $260,000 of money generated from that take-home salary that I was saving or not spending. And obviously this is a super rough estimate, so it could be higher, could be lower, hopefully not lower, but it is my overall baseline goal. Now, on top of this, we really are hoping to grow our income, like I mentioned, in multiple different ways over time as well. Although the savings figures that I just talked about are pretty amazing, and right now on paper they sound great, at the same time, there's not a lot of room to really grow those savings exponentially or do much within my control other than save as much as I can from it, right? So it really is key to have other areas of income coming in. So obviously one of those avenues is going to be interest and things like that generated from investments, but another one that a lot of you obviously know about is our YouTube channel. Obviously, we're still pretty small right now. We're just about to hit 17,000, which is really exciting, and we're glad that you are all here. But it really is a great avenue that we've seen growing over time, and it's a good way to continue to expand our brand and also gain some additional income as well. We've also found over time that really what you put into it is what you get out of it, so you will not see us stopping making videos anytime soon. Now, it really is hard to estimate some concrete numbers when it comes to savings and income generated from YouTube because we really are just starting off on that journey right now. But our goal is in the new year to have consistent income coming in each month, and then our goal long term is to kind of double that yearly income each year after that. And again, YouTube growth is definitely not predictable. It's not linear. You never know when there's going to be spikes and drops as well, but that's our hope right now. But more updates to come on that income as it does continue to grow.
So to wrap it all up, the biggest goal that we mentioned earlier that we want to reach by the time we're 30 is us becoming millionaires. So ideally, we're going to be able to make this happen by, making sure we're diligent with our saving, making sure we're investing, whether that means, utilizing our multiple income streams, real estate, making sure that we're not being susceptible to lifestyle creep. Obviously, all of that is a lot, and it would be amazing if we lived in a perfect world where, you can make sure that you were sticking to everything. But once again, we're taking you guys on our journey, and hopefully we'll be as accountable as it can be. And, 5 years from now when we turn 30, we can say, guys, we did it. All right, guys, we hope that you enjoyed this video. We hope that it was actually informative on, some of the plans that we have moving forward. It's sort of going to shape a lot of the content that we do create as well moving forward. But once again, if you guys have any suggestions on things you want to see, make sure you let us know down below. If you guys haven't checked out some of our other videos on money, budgeting, debt, that sort of thing, make sure you check them out next door. We will be back next week. Same schedule. I know we kind of mixed it up a bit this week, but we're trying a little something. So yeah, we'll see you next week. Same time, same place. You know what it is. Let's go.